from our 7 Tasmania studios. Your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. A Liberal announcement to open up native timber reserves has threatened to reignite Tasmania's forestry wars. Environmentalists lashed the plan, but in a surprising move, so did the industry itself, claiming it's being used as a political football.
After a decade-long ceasefire, Tasmania's forest wars are threatening to start again. The Liberals pledging to open up 40,000 hectares of native forests that was set aside in 2014.
Being able to produce more here on the island sustainably and responsibly, that'll be a great thing for all Tasmanians.
There's good resource in there that Tasmanian sawmillers are crying out for at the moment.
But it hasn't drawn widespread support from industry, the state's peak body claiming it's being used as a political football by the Liberals.
It would seem the forest industry has been politically wedged today.
Saying active management of the area and working with all stakeholders is a better way forward.
Be that for conservation, Aboriginal management or productive forestry.
Quizzed on who the plan's supporters are, Felix Ellis was stumped.
Yeah, look, there's a range of different businesses that support it, Leon. And as I say, there's a range of different businesses that support it. And that's one of the critical
Felix
things
Ellis,
for our community today.
And so name one.
So, Leon, we'll be doing different media events with a range of different people. I'm not going to provide green activists with a hit list of people to go after.
I think that signals to everybody that this is something he's cooked up overnight with no consultation. That's all about reigniting the forest wars.
Faced with another fight, forestry critics formed a coalition.
They're certainly going to include the forests, which are critical habitat for endangered species.
Once again, Aboriginal people are having to fight for the protection of our land, our heritage and our forests.
Also demanding Labor put their plans on the table.
We're working with the industry and I look forward to announcing our policy in coming days.
7 Tasmania News understands the Liberals will announce further forestry policy tomorrow, responding to industry calls for certainty by extending all existing native wood supply contracts with Tasmanian sawmillers. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
The Greens want to help pay off the HECS debt of new public servants in areas of skill shortages. It's part of a $45 million package, also including housing in regional areas.
What we're finding is that there's not the incentives there to attract them. We need to do everything we can to encourage people into those areas.
Meanwhile, Labor's pledge to double the operational funding of the no interest loans scheme and pour $500,000 into subsidising energy efficient appliances bought through the program.
So they can provide support to more Tasmanians who are struggling under the cost of living pressures.
Demand has outstripped our capacity to respond, that with an increase of funding we will be able to help so many more Tasmanians.
But Labor has been walking back part of its new Tasmanian Power Company proposal. Hydro's consulting firm Entura will not have its ownership transferred after workers raised concerns. A collection of key health bodies are calling on our next Tasmanian government to address urgent staff shortages, bed block and retain workers. Others say homelessness and rent instability are important concerns which need long-term solutions.
Loud calls from the health sector for our next government to prioritise the industry.
We know that health is the number one issue for Tasmanians. We have a failing health system that is seeing really negative outcomes for patients.
Congregating outside the Royal Hobart Hospital, these groups urgently calling for more than a band-aid solution.
They're relieving the bed pressures in the hospital. The bed block that we know that we have on a day-in, day-out basis needs a whole of government, and that's going to be the state government working with the federal government to come up with a funding solution.
As health workers, we want to do the best job we can for the patients. Now, we are unable to do that when there is insufficient staffing.
Attracting, recruiting and retaining staff among issues most important.
We don't have the best wages in Australia. So nurses, for example, are going to Queensland and getting paid a whole lot more.
A similar issue for education workers, the industry also plagued by staff shortages. It says the next elected government must show they fully support the public school system.
What I want to see is both major parties stand up and say we're going to fight for public education when it comes to funding, that they'll work with the federal government to get us to 100% of what we need.
Tascost today putting its wish list in writing, revealing 6 key policies that it wants to see addressed. These included ending homelessness in just 10 years and bringing down the cost of energy.
We're seeing more and more thousands of Tasmanians telling us that they haven't got enough food on the table, they're not able to afford their rent or their energy bills.
A long wish list with just 23 days to go until the election. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmanian News.
Beleaguered harness trainer Ben Yol will field horses at Saturday's Tasmanian Cup meeting for the first time since being warned off Tasmanian tracks over allegations of race fixing and animal cruelty. The ban imposed by Tas Racing was overturned by the appeal board, Yol successfully arguing he hadn't been afforded natural justice. His horses won't compete in the main race but are entered in 8 of the 10.
It's not ideal, but we've got a race meeting. There's $300,000 up for grabs for the majority of the other races. So yeah, people it is what it is at the moment. Hopefully the authorities work out what they're going to do sooner than later.
3 others also named in the scathing Murray report have also had their bans overturned. A photography exhibition has returned to Hobart to showcase Army life through a different lens. Point and Shoot features a collection of stills captured by Australian Defence Force veterans, some dating back to the Vietnam War. The display a chance for diggers to tell their stories and foster understanding and empathy within the community.
You can't really fully heal, I suppose, from the traumas of war until you've been able to actually share those experiences.
The exhibition last toured Tasmania in 2021 before going national. It's based at Brook Street Pier and will be free to the public for 3 more days. East Tamar Primary School students are learning the importance of growing a vegetable garden. The school is one of the first in northern Tasmania to benefit from the 24 Carrot Garden project developed by the Material Institute.
Getting their hands dirty in a vegetable garden. Children at East Tamar Primary embracing the 24 Carrot Garden concept.
Our students love the garden program, and as you can see there's a large group of children that come here every day. They choose to spend their recess and lunch in the garden with Anthony. The sense of belonging that they get from the garden is really important to us.
Developed in collaboration with landscape design experts and students from the UTAS School of Architecture and Design, the garden has become a focal point for these children.
The garden is fantastic for being able to connect children with the earth. So being able to have hands in the soil, collecting seed, growing food, sharing in the school environment, taking those skills home.
As well as learning about the variety of different vegetables they can grow, students are also learning how to cook, taking the recipes home to share with parents.
So today we've been creating a stuffed zucchini recipe, which the children will be able to try.
10-year-old Tobias Grinstead is so enamoured with the garden, he's decided to become a gardener when he finishes school. Tobias loves nothing more than eating vegetables from the garden, cooked on the barbecue.
Like a zucchini split in half with some stuff in the middle, like rice and carrots, and yeah. It's probably going to be really tasty.
Proving healthy eating really does tantalise the taste buds. Melinda Ogden, 7 Tasmania News.
A program helping young people with disabilities form connections with other students will go statewide if Labor is elected next month. Young leaders of Tasmania would receive $150,000 to expand their buddy program, which pairs children from the Southern School with students from other public schools.
We want this next generation that are coming through and doing our program to not see disability as a disability, make it part of our community.
The program has taught me how important inclusivity is and breaking down barriers.
The Buddy program has been operational in the South since 2018. Launceston's Method Plus Action Gym will be the setting for a sketch this weekend as part of the Mona Foma Festival. The Rook team is set to redefine Launceston's nighttime scene with an immersive after-dark escapade.
We're playing on the parallels between gym culture and nightclub culture, so obviously both of these things involve similar, loud music, sweating and grunting, some other things that I won't say on live television. And so we're really playing on these themes of voyeurism and physical exertion, kind of pushing ourselves to our limits.
The performance will include a blend of circus, theatre and dance. Cyclists from around the country are riding across Tasmania for a good cause. Pedalling for a Cure, they've so far raised $500,000 to fight motor neurone disease, with 4 days of riding still to go.
Helmets on, it's time to hit the road. Using pedal power to fund research into motor neurone disease and support those battling.
Over 130 people in the bunch, and we come from all around Australia and all very passionate about fighting this beast.
The 640-kilometre, 6-day ride crisscrosses the state, passing through Deloraine today, the home of horse trainer Terry Rolls, who lost his fight with MND in 2021.
That's where he trained horses, and then he became a footy trainer here.
But everyone in this group has their reasons for riding.
My late sister-in-law, Angie Cunningham, passed away with motor neurone disease a number of years ago. And so I'm here with my brother-in-law, Pat, her husband, rolling around and meeting everybody else. And we're united in this cause to fight MND.
Smashing their initial $350,000 fundraising target, they're now aiming for $700,000.
Your brain is 100% fully functional all the way through as your body completely shuts down. So the last part of your life is just horrible. So we're here doing a little bit of pain for what is a fantastic cause.
If you see them on the road over coming days, give them a toot, aiming for Swansea via the Tamar Valley, Bridport and St Helens. Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
Kingston lad Chase Hattinger is getting ready to head to Florida, set to go up against the best of the best in the Kids Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu World Championships this July. The 8-year-old hoping to claim a win, adding to his current collection of 2 national titles. He's training 3 times a week.
When it's 5:30, we start our warm-ups, and then we do training, and then after that we wrestle.
I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 15 years, and Chase is the first ever child to ever show that he really wants to make Brazilian jiu-jitsu his life.
A GoFundMe has been set up, hoping to raise $15,000 to help his family and coach cover travel expenses.
The Jackies are into the playoffs after a huge 16-point win over the Hawks in front of a raucous crowd at MyState Bank Arena. It means a week off to rest and regather before the best-of-3 series against the Wildcats. The reaction from the coach says it all. MyState Bank Arena is the Jackies' house, and the 4,000-strong crowd were making sure the Hawks didn't feel welcome.
Playing well, not playing well, they're always going crazy, so just trying to relish in it, enjoy it, and I'm glad we get to come back here one more time and play another game in front of them.
As Illawarra tried to wedge themselves into the fight, Tasmania was leaving nothing in the tank, the dominant show of force.
We pride ourselves in practice and getting after each other and making sure it is physical. And these games, when you get to this level now, are all indicative of that kind of play probably.
Despite being cleared, Majuk Dang continued to watch on, but the injury list wouldn't stay clear for long. Marcus Lee leaving the court in the opening seconds, hopefully just a scare. Magnay was on fire, putting away 25 points. His 30 minutes on court, the most he's played all season after a run of injuries.
My job's pretty easy. I just roll hard and jump. And Milk just puts it next to the hoop, and then I get to make it look cool.
26 points from Jack McVeigh, 20 from Jordan Crawford, and Sean McDonald's 2 3-pointers from 2 attempts, helping seal the Hawks' fate.
Mill was fantastic also defensively and setting the table across the board and all in during the course of the game. And really good players impact games that way.
They've bought themselves some breathing room, but now need to get the better of regular season runners-up the Wildcats, coming off an extra long break.
To be honest with you, I don't really care right now. I'm just going to go home and relax for a few days, and we'll worry about Perth next week. But they're obviously a very good team, and we'll have our hands full playing them.
Pressure is mounting for the Tigers as they fight for a home Sheffield Shield final. Currently sitting at the top of the ladder, Tasmania faces Victoria tomorrow at Blunsdon Arena. Billy Stanlake and Gai Bella both back in action after injuries. Matthew Wade also returning to the fold for his first Shield game of the season after representing Australia in the men's T20 internationals. It'll mark a first in his 17-year domestic career.
He'll open the batting for us tomorrow. So Tim Ward's out of our team. So Wade will come in at the top of the order.
Victoria will be a challenge, but a win is important. They trail Tassie by just 2 points on the ladder. There's hot competition for Saturday's final of the $150,000 Harness Tasmanian Cup final. Former Longford trainer James Rattray returns from New South Wales with race favourite Star Major, which nabbed a win in Hobart a fortnight ago. Victoria nag Ultimate Vinny backs up off a win in the Cup's first heat.
Ran a bit slower than the first heat last week, but he's drawn a bit better than the other two favourites, so he should be a pretty good chance.
Mickey O is considered to be the best local chance.
Good evening. Hobart and Devonport 25 today, Launceston 28 and Burnie 24 degrees. Launceston Airport the high with 29 as temperatures over the north remained above average. Cressy, Fingal and Friendly Beaches 28, St Helens 27. Bushy Park warmest of the rest with 24 degrees. The Bass Strait Islands nudged into the 20s while Strawn reached 19. Low level cloud today over the west and far south. Isolated patches elsewhere. Remnants of what blew through last night well off to the east. Now we can't even see that. Scattered storm clouds over the tropics, while more thunderstorms are firing off over central and northeast New South Wales. Tomorrow, a high attempts to push into the picture behind a trough that dominates the southern and far northwest of the country. A high over the Tasman Sea has a ridge over eastern Queensland. Winds tomorrow blowing up to 15 to 25 knots from the west-northwest, but up to 30 knots in the south and later over northern waters. Swells up to 4.5 metres in southern waters. Strong wind warning, that's from Stanley to St Helens Point and also from Tasman Island to Sandy Cape. West-northwesterlies, as we said, to 30. 24 for Hobart tomorrow, partly cloudy. A shower for Huonville, 23. Campania, a top of 25 degrees. Launceston 24 and partly cloudy. Devonport and Georgetown both 23. Winds picking up over the north later. Burnie partly cloudy and 22. 20 the top for Strawn with a shower. Partly cloudy for Wynyard. 23 the maximum. St Helens 25 and sunny. Swansea okay as well, warming up to 26 degrees. 25 for Port Arthur. 30% chance of a shower, mostly cloudy though. On Saturday, fine and mostly sunny. Just a 40% chance of a shower in the west. Winds picking up on Sunday. In fact, very windy over the east. A few more showers in the west. And on Monday, temperatures may struggle to reach 20, but it should be fine statewide. Sunny and 34 in Perth, fine as well in Adelaide, warm and partly cloudy weather for Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane, a bit stormy further north. Hobart 21, sunny at the moment, 24 in Launceston, 21 right now in Devonport. And Kim, as February is done, I can say it's been pretty dry, and I'm not talking about the humour. The corridor of the state from Devonport south through the Midlands to Hobart, all with rainfall well below average. Hobart 4.2 millimetres for the month. That nearly beats a record low set in 1914. Launceston 24 millimetres short of the February average as well. It's a real dust bowl through the Midlands at the moment, and the first week of March doesn't look like much rain either.
It's certainly been a long, dry summer. Thank you very much there, Murph. Well, that is all we have time for this evening. We'll have our regular updates throughout the night, but for now it is good night.